Hello? Rescue hooks to rescue, Mayday! Get ahead, West. Fast, Mayday, what's your location? Get the hell out of here, hurry up! We need radio silence, baby. Water in that 2.5 inch line. 48 inch water in a 2.5 inch line. To the rope, to the rope, rope to the rope. 35 in the rear, 35 in the rear.
Welcome to the Emergency Traffic Podcast. Hello there, and welcome back to the Emergency Traffic Podcast, where we review firefighter line of duty deaths and discuss the reports to learn the lessons from these tragic events. We're back on the tailboard in the fire station, hanging around talking about some subjects that might be of interest to you. So grab a coffee, sit down, and enjoy as Dirk, Doug, and I talk about firefighting bikes, motorcycles, the recent purchase of a robot firefighting vehicle, otherwise a tracked monitor by Dallas, Texas, searching without a hose line. There's been some videos that just came out recently, and we also talk about automatic responses to commercial alarms during the day. Many municipalities, or some municipalities, are stopping those or reducing their response assets to those types of alarms. So sit back and listen to the discussion. Hello, Doug and Dirk. How are you guys doing today? Back finally together. It's been a while.
Long time. Good to be back, though.
Everybody's been busy. Dirk, you were riding along in Barcelona on with the fire crews over there for a day or two.
Yeah, I begged my wife to let me go for a week.
Nice.
So I was on vacation. So yeah, I went to visit my friend Mark. He just got promoted to Corporal, which is kind of like a junior fire captain. And I had the honor of being present during the ceremony they had at their city hall. Very, very cool location, like 1,000-year-old city hall. Allegedly one of the very first democratic elected city councils.
Oh,
and
wow.
it's never open to the public. It's only for official city business. And so with that promotion, it was the first time in 20 years they were saying that they invited friends and family. So yeah, I had the honor of joining them. And yeah, I did a ride along. So that was pretty cool, 24 hours. I gave them a shout out after midnight, so they wanted me back.
Oh,
they got to apply.
All my police friends will laugh at that one. Yeah, firefighters
so
sleeping.
Exactly. Yeah, I thought they didn't wake me up because it's a ride along. Like you don't have to go on calls, but no, it was just total shut out. It was a Sunday night, so it wasn't busy in Barcelona, which is weird because it's always busy there. So, but it was pretty cool. I learned a lot. Saw a lot of different fire stations. We drove around. We had the chief's car, so Mark was my driver, and I was pretending to be the chief. And
Nice.
We drove all over Barcelona, and the platoon chief was in on it. She's the platoon chief and the head of dispatch for that night, and they just sent us calls. We had a little laptop that we grabbed on the calls, and then we went all over the place. I saw that new training tower, which was really cool. We went to the museum. I think I showed you a few pictures.
Yeah, you sent some pictures. Yeah.
You would have loved that. And then, so the one station we went to, they have two underground parking levels. One for the firefighters to park, because there's no parking in Barcelona, basically. Mm-hmm. And then the second level was to store their historic trucks. So we walked through there, and it was super cool. So yeah, I was busy with that, and then just yard work, and yeah.
So do we have to call you Chief Dirk now?
No, you don't.
Yeah. And sir, get you a white shirt.
They don't even call that position chief. Like I thought I saw like a captain sign on the door. It looked like captain, and in their ranking it would make sense because there's the corporal, there's the sergeant, and then there would be the captain. But they call it officio, like the official.
Mm-hmm,
and for me, that's from a ranking. He's the head of the station, and he goes out and assumes command and has his own buggy. So for me, that's a district chief, right? So,
yeah.
So that was cool. Yeah.
And Doug, how you been? You been busy this spring?
I have
working
been
lots?
busy. I was a full participant in the Oilers Stanley Cup run.
Oh yeah,
Glued
I'm
to it
sure.
like there's no tomorrow. My life revolved around it. My mood revolved around it. So I was
I
either.
watched 2 games. I watched game 6 and 7.
Well,
You
you
should be proud of me.
probably shouldn't have watched Game 7 because
Oh,
you might be the
He
reason that.
jinxed them.
Yeah,
He jinxed them.
it was a good run.
you got to stick to your non-team events. That you
Okay,
Anyways, it was a very. I thought they were going to win, so when they didn't win, it was a pretty big letdown. But I got over it. Shaved off my mustache that I was growing for the whole hockey season. What much to, well, I maybe not much to my wife's happiness, but she says she liked it more. Yeah, it
you
was
look like
so.
look like a young guy now as a
And
baby.
we've also wanted to move and sell our house, so doing lots of projects around the house, new floor, new paint, new stuff to get that ready and put it up for sale and get it ready for
Nice,
showings and blah 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 and go find a new one. So life's been busy on top of all the normal kid stuff and work stuff and family stuff and whatever.
cool.
So yeah, it's I haven't been around here with you guys very often, but I'm sure you survived just fine without me. And now I'm
Well,
here for this one.
I don't know that we did the 2 shows with Denis and I, Waldorf and Statler. We were missing you bugging us, though. It was kind of fairly tame show without you. And then Zach filled in once or twice too, so that was good.
I went to Zach's wedding too, so congrats to
Oh yeah,
Zach
right,
and
yeah, yeah.
Ashley.
Congrats
I
to
I
Zach and
told him
Ashley.
his wedding was on Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final.
Yeah, what
So
the hell, eh?
when the schedule got released, I texted him right away. I said, Zach, because Game 4 was in Edmonton, right? This before Game 1 even happened. I said, if there's a chance that the Oilers are going to win 4 in a row here and sweep them in 4 games, I ain't going to be at your wedding. I'm going to be at the hockey game. And he didn't like that very much. But I said, don't worry. Like I said, you can be mad at me. Just don't be mad at me forever. But I won't be
Yeah.
there. And so then it's like seconds after they lost Game 1, Zach texts me and goes,
Right.
I guess you'll be at my wedding. And I said, yeah, I guess I'll be there. So yeah, it was.
And then they got the 3 straight or something, didn't they?
Well, yeah, they won. Florida
It's
won.
like three,
So then we're
4,
at the
and 5
wedding
or
for
something.
Game 4 when Edmonton won like 8-1 or something. So it's the only playoff game that I didn't watch 1 second of, but my watch is just dinging. Goal, 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 goal. I'm like, oh my God, of all the games to not watch. But it was a nice
had
wedding, so good for them.
I had a friend of mine, or a high school, a girl I went to high school with. She said, "This is like basketball or something." She put on
Yeah.
Facebook, and I saw that, and I go, "Oh, I better go check this out. What's going on?" Interesting, cool.
Did you know
Did
what
you
that
go
meant?
to the? Yes, I knew what that meant. I meant they were scoring lots of goals. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I
Nice.
went to Game 6,
Game 6. Oh, okay, cool.
which was
We were
probably
camping. We watched.
Game 6 was probably the best hockey viewing experience I've had. It was unreal to
Yeah,
be in there.
it was good. Yeah, we were camping, but we managed to get the game wherever we were. I can't remember how we did that, but it was good. Okay, well, and I've just been busy camping. I went on a couple motorcycle trips out to BC Interior, and I went out down to South Dakota and had some nice riding. So that was all good. So this week we're going to do a tailboard talk, and we thought we would discuss an article that came out in Fire Rescue magazine, I think, Fire Rescue 1, where they made a case for firefighting motorcycles. And I've always wondered about this. And, around the world, I'm a motorcyclist, and Dirk's a motorcyclist, and Denis and Zach. And something I've always wondered is how come we don't see many in North America, yet they're popular in other areas? So I wonder if this is something that's going to change one day. So I'll just review the article from the magazine here a little bit. So, we have pickup trucks and SUVs. Those are a staple of fire department fleets in the United States and Canada for a variety of uses. Obviously, wildland firefighting, rescue, EMS, medic units in urban areas have long been using bicycles to provide rapid care for ambulance or before the ambulance arrives, especially big events and stuff. What about the firefighting motorcycles? Firebike, as it's commonly known around the world, is a motorcycle used by fire departments. Fire departments Japan, Singapore, Brazil are using these bikes to reduce response times in high traffic congestion areas of major cities. Fire bikes are being used for suppression. Equipment ranges from simple extinguishers to jet guns. If you remember those old, it was like called IFEX or something like that. And it was kind of like a shotgun, and it
Yeah.
shoots a big blast of mist water at high pressure onto the fire and kind of snuffs it out and cools it at the same time. To provide, and of course, EMS response, first response, transporting medics and equipment to scene. Many countries, the medic bike is used even with a trailer or a sidecar, potentially to transport a patient. Brazil, Sao Paulo Fire Department uses teams of fire bikes to bring down the first response times to fire medical emergencies from 10 to 15 minutes down to 5 in congested streets. They usually use 400cc machines to carry basic EMS equipment, tools, signaling devices, and other accessories, flashlights, elevator keys to do elevator rescues, which we were just talking about in Barcelona. That's a big deal. There's elevators in every building, and the elevators are 200 years old. And so failures and malfunctions happen frequently, and the fire department goes to rescue people from elevators or unlock doors for people trapped, in their apartment, and the medics need to get at somebody. You were talking about that. So again, a motorcycle would be perfect for that. I've got a KLR, which is a dual sport motorcycle, and there's quite a few cities around that use KLRs because it's sort of versatile. It'll do off-road, but yet it's still decently quick on
And
road and can
it's
get,
cheap.
and it's
Relatively. Yeah.
and it's relatively
Affordable.
economical as motorcycles go. I know we were going over Salmo Pass with my friends there a few weeks ago, and Salmo Pass is quite a high elevation pass west of Creston, and I've changed the ratio on my front sprocket, so it gets a little lower RPM at high speed, but it also weakens it for hill climbing, and I couldn't maintain fifth gear. I kept having to gear down to fourth as I'm climbing the pass. It was windy too, and my friends were laughing at me about having to gear down to fourth to keep going. Anyway, maybe I get a bigger bike one day, but I don't know. The KLR is just so comfortable. Quick attack. To Japan, the Tokyo Fire Department uses pairs of motorcycle units nicknamed Quick Attackers for firefighting, rescue, and first aid. They have two types of fire bike units, which uses two 200cc bikes. They're quite small, but that's typical in Japan. A lot of small displacement engines. Their T unit is equipped with a portable impulse, that's that firefighting shotgun system, while a Type U unit carries simple rescue equipment and fire extinguishers, so they go out as pairs. Oh, not unlike how we respond to fires, right, with several trucks. In 2001, there was 20 quick attacker teams were in service in Tokyo. They have 50 such teams today. Japan, having a long history of earthquakes, quick attack units are also capable off-road response, and they're used for rapid fact-finding, so you could do damage assessments during earthquake or other disasters. Singapore Civil Defense also uses fire bikes since 1998 to combat increasing traffic congestion, with response time being a critical factor preventing the spread of fires in the high-rise residential blocks and the urban island state. The force operates two-person fire bike teams manned by junior officers, usually the first to arrive on scene, and will, if necessary, enter an occupancy to try to knock down the fire or prevent its extension or spread. They have impulse guns, which can fire powerful bursts of water mist at speeds of up to 448 miles per hour. The United Kingdom, Merseyside Fire and Rescue Service has operated a number of fire bikes in different roles since 2005. In 2010, they became the first service in the UK to deploy bikes especially equipped to fight fires. They use your favorite bike, Dirk, the BMW R1200 RT trail bikes. Fitted. Also, one of our part-time listeners, maybe from Fort Saskatchewan there in Edmonton. We call him Eugene. Grant is his first name, but for some reason they call him Eugene. He's got a BMW RT and travels all around with it. Anyway, they have two 6.5-gallon canisters filled with water and foam and a 98-foot booster reel kind of hose. They are used to combat small fires and free up main fire apparatus. Since '05, Merseyside has been using a fire bike to respond to automatic fire alarms. That's a good idea. In Liverpool, to assess situations ahead of the arrival of main apparatus resources due to rising traffic congestion. And of course, most of these automatic alarms are false alarms. That's another subject. I know that several departments in UK are no longer responding lights and siren to commercial building alarms during working hours. They might send one apparatus, not lights and siren. What do we think about that, guys? No more alarm calls with 4 rigs going to them during a day if it's a commercial business.
Well, there's a lot of departments that send only 1 or 2 rigs, like lights and sirens or not, but because you just look at the statistics, there's really only a slight chance that there's actually something happening there. During daytime, there's usually people around, so if there's something, you would get multiple calls, so you get an update. I I'm very indifferent. I mean, when you look at wear and tear, the less trucks we send out, the better it is. But then other people say, well, if you don't send them out, then everybody thinks we're not doing anything, so you're gonna cut staffing and rigs
Got
and
to
stuff
put
like that.
your chief shirt on again there, Chief Dirk, and go like, hey, that's a great idea. We could save a ton of responses if we sent a motorcycle or only one rig to a commercial during the day. Doug
Well, the
are
question
on the
is,
floor.
My
yeah, but
I get both sides of the argument kind of thing, but I don't love the idea of from like the first second you're already treating it like it's a false alarm. I feel like you should be treating it like it's a fire till you determine that it's not. And I know it's a lot of money and it's a lot of blah blah blah, but like most of the budgets of a fire department is wages anyways.
Yeah, so you're not
And
changing that at
pay him a
all.
wage if the guy's in the hall or on a call. So
Yeah, you're
in
not
the
changing
grand
the
scheme of
cost.
things, it sounds awesome to say, oh, we're going to save $40 on every tank of fuel we don't burn up going to alarms calls. And I get there's more for wear and tear of apparatus
I
and
think
all that
it's
stuff.
more for the. I
But
think it's more for the
I think
risk.
I think it's it, it's I don't know what I don't love the idea of just saying, well, only 1% of them is a fire. So why do we, because when you boil it down to think like the 1% is why we exist, why we're even there to start with, is for when it is a fire.
I
And
think they're looking at the life safety risk
and
though
when you're
because it's
telling the
commercial daytime.
public, like it's part of what like makes us, like I'm doing air quotes, better than the cops is like when you call the cops, they come 3 days later. When you call the fire department,
Ouch.
we're here right now. And like that's kind of like a feather in my cap kind of thing of like
Okay.
when you need something, you call, we come. And yeah, it might not be an emergency, it might not be the end of the world, but you decided you needed help. And but I also understand the like, why are we chasing all these alarms that are installed incorrectly, or they're malfunctioning, or they're installed in a stupid spot that like the
Or
toaster
testing.
puts it off all the time, or whatever. So like maybe there's a little bit of education slash enforcement that needs to happen with like, but like, how do you charge? I know you're talking commercial. Lots of these
Yeah,
alarms
commercial
are
daytime.
residential, right? Yeah, but like
Commercial daytime.
you're
Because the life
charging
safety risk isn't there.
the business or the owner of the property for this alarm that they didn't even put in. Somebody else put it in and monitors it. So maybe we need to start going after alarm companies and saying like, figure this out. Why are we coming to this alarm 10 times in a week? Send a tech out there and figure it out. And I don't like the idea of putting a firefighter on a motorcycle or 2 guys in a Tahoe or even just one truck by itself in the position of like, we're going to take our chance that this isn't a fire, and then they show up and it is a fire, right? Like, look at Charleston. Charleston was during the day an occupied business, small little fire. Could have been a one truck response. Killed 9 guys.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. That's a good
what do you
analogy. Look at
and
Charles.
like the other thing is like, okay, we're not going to chase all these alarms all day.
Yeah.
What are we doing instead?
Yeah. Well, the next script I'm working on, which is this Merseyside one in the UK or Manchester, and it was a commercial during the day fire. Started in the garbage in the back, like Charleston, and they fought it all day, and eventually one of the firefighters perished.
And
So
those are
good.
the ones that are going to kill a guy when it's the business that you've gone to 6 times for an alarm, and now you're going again, and you're like, oh, whatever, it's alarms. And then you
All right,
get there, and it's the dumpster behind there that set it off, or it's whatever. You know what I mean? Like I think we're getting complacent when we just go like, whatever. This is just another false alarm. Like, but I also understand that it's easy to get complacent when you're going to the same building for the 25th time this month, and so I don't know.
So,
It's
yeah,
just
back to the bikes.
back to the bikes. Okay.
Yeah. So I was going to say something about that because the single firefighter response rarely happens. They usually paired up, right, with 2. And we had talked about, like, when we read all the cities like Singapore, Japan, Tokyo, right? Those are highly congested cities that you cannot compare to. Maybe LA. Never been to LA, but no. Look at New York, maybe. But those are also cultures and countries that are used to motorcycles. And I'm just trying to play the safety guy here that says, I don't think these things are safe because you know this, Paul. I know this. Here, they cut you off. They don't let you through. They see a motorcycle from behind. They open the doors on you because, well, I'm paying taxes. You should line up like everybody else. And then you go anywhere else in the world, they're splitting lanes. They are going through traffic, first at the traffic light, right? It saves a shit ton of traffic and time if you are on a motorcycle or a scooter, right? But
Yeah.
we don't have
Yeah.
that culture. For me,
Yeah.
it would be highly dangerous. And there were some projects in Germany for career departments. I think Frankfurt was one of the first ones in the early 2000s. They got away from it. It was just the guys on these rigs felt like it was not safe enough.
Hmm.
Now, 25 years later, uh, the attitude changed. They did some changes to the driver's licenses, where old folks like you, Paul, never had a driver's
Oh,
license.
yikes.
Never had a driver's license for their motorcycle. But what they said, if you have a class 3 or here class 5 for a car, if you got that before 1985, you can ride a 125cc motorcycle. And suddenly the market was flooded with 125 cc's. So now the old gentleman in the BMW that love to cut off motorbikes suddenly is like, oh, I'm riding a motorbike. Now I'm
Uh,
paying attention to motorcyclists. So the collisions went down like big times. And
oh,
then you
really?
look at Singapore and Japan, like
They've
Tokyo,
lived with motorcycles
been
forever.
forever,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah. Right.
that would be the only thing. Are they useful? I think absolutely. There's some uses to it. Would I take a guy off an engine and put him on the motorcycle and the other 3 guys just sitting around? Probably not. I would make this either a volunteer thing, like the article I shared with you there. Most German departments now gave those motorcycles to volunteers, and they're serving the autobahn. Like, people are stuck in traffic in like 35 degrees. They're running out of fuel, and they need food. They need water. It's more like a service call other than an
Okay.
emergency call, right? So
Well, good. That's good discussion. Actually, back to the article, the next one was LA.
mhm.
So apparently in the States, there's very few instances of fire department using fire bikes. In 2012, Los Angeles Fire Department launched a pilot. They bought 5 off-road capable motorcycles on loan from Kawasaki. Haha, KLR, yay. Each bike was fitted with a defibrillator, a small fire extinguisher, various medical supplies, and a handlebar-mounted GPS system. A dozen firefighters went through the necessary training, and a permanent unit could have up to 10 motorcycles and 28 riders. The pilot response team was a 5-person unit being used to speed up on the side of an injured victim, provide information to dispatchers, skirt traffic to scout fires and other problems. The first unit rode during Carmageddon, which was when the 405 freeway closed for major demolition work and reconstruction. So they used it a way around it, I guess. This program is still in operation. However, LAFD did not respond to requests for information by the publication date of this article. In Florida, several other major fire departments in the United States have looked at initiating fire or EMS motorcycle programs, including Metro-Dade, Miami. But for financial reasons of one sort or another, they never got off the ground. In addition to scouting fires, advocates say motorcycle response team can help save lives when a heart attack occurs. For example, American Heart and Lung Association says irreversible brain damage can begin after 4 minutes. So quick CPR and a quick defibrillation, I guess. Medics with defibrillators in Miami cut response times from an average of 7 minutes to less than 3 in some places. Miami Metro-Dade Department spokesperson told Los Angeles Times in 2012 they had 10 donated motorcycles, but the program was dismantled in 2008 amidst of department-wide budget cuts, even despite its very low $36,000 a year operating cost. Fort Walton Beach, Florida, is adding 2 leased motorcycles for rapid EMS response. $600 per bike to insure them and outfit them with lights, radios, and equipment. Use of the bikes is largely being donated, and the lease is for $1 per year. Fire bikes. So off-road scouting, mapping, you get wildland fires, that kind of stuff would be good. Fire alarms, of course, we talked about that already. Besides tactical functions, they can provide the fire department operations. There's potential for cost savings that could be realized through, less wear and tear, of course, on the big rigs like we talked about. So that was the article from Fire Rescue. And then you put the one from Munich, Volunteer Fire Department. Major events, disasters, easy way to get around.
Scouting missions for grass fires and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's great. I want to be on one, even though I'm old.
Yeah. Again, you gotta look at your needs, your local needs, right? If that is something that makes sense on the budget level, on the safety level, response time level, and I think most departments figure that out. Again, in LA, I can totally see it. Lots of traffic, especially when it's traffic jam, you can't get through, right? So having somebody sent to a medical emergency or quick extrication. Awesome. I love it. Looking at Alberta, I could not.
It's only half a year.
Well, if that, right? So it's only half a year. We don't have that much of congestion usually with traffic. There's always a way around it.
Getting more congested with bike lanes and stuff. We're getting more congested.
Oh yeah. Well, we could make the argument why put it on a motorcycle with a combustion engine. Why not an electric bike?
Oh, there you go, electric bike.
I mean, police is using bicycles. I'm not sure if they are electric, but I could imagine like at some point they're probably going to get electric bikes, right?
They're all in good shape, probably.
They're on patrol. They're using it for riot control and stuff like that. But the problem with a bicycle is if you want that defibrillator, you want that IFX or whatever it's called, that high pressure water cannon and all these medical equipment. I don't think a bicycle would be able to carry that.
No,
and you still be able to actually
motorized.
Motorized would be the way to go. So I think for Alberta, it's unfortunately maybe in 50 years when climate change really kicks in. Right?
Here we go.
But that's going to be electric motorbike. So
yeah.
There you go. But they are popular. You're right. Absolutely. I went when I was at Intershoots. I sent you those pictures. Maybe I post them on our Facebook page there too. They still build them, especially for EMS. They got the German Red Cross. They are using bicycles for a long time now. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Cool. Well, Doug, any more on that? No way. Give me a custom rig.
Well, I'm not a motorcycle guy like you guys, so I don't have the big draw to want to be one of them. But we can't even drive fire trucks without crashing and killing firefighters. And now you want to put a adrenaline-filled firefighter on a motorcycle and just say,
Well,
go to this call fast.
notice the picture in the article. The bike was yellow,
Yeah,
bright
well, that's the other
lime
problem.
yellow.
That's,
You know,
the
so
big-
that's good. You
that
can
is a
see
big
it.
problem, though.
It'll be
Then they
easier to
see
pick
it.
up the parts in the ditch then. When it disintegrates like a car
when
accident.
you clean it up, exactly.
The other thing I wanted to mention was this. I just saw on Facebook today. Dallas Fire has bought a How and How RS3 firefighting remote controlled vehicle. I
I
didn't
think
call
just
it
one
a
more thing on
robot.
Thank
motorcycles.
you.
You
Oh,
mentioned like they're not huge in North America and they're bigger around the rest of the world. I think you touched on the congestion, all those other places, but I think a big
right.
part of it too is the union atmosphere of our fire service, where like we want 4 guys on a truck and like get a truck, and if we need to get there quicker, then add a truck and add 4 spots and all that kind of stuff. So I
Yeah,
think
might have an impact.
Yeah, who's the officer, right? Who's in charge?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
like
cool.
you always
Good
say,
point.
think of it as a chief. Like, do you want to be the chief that's explaining to the city taxpayers, like, yes, we still need this $1 million fire truck, but we're never going to use it anymore. It's just going to sit here.
No, it's still going.
But
In
we
case you don't
also
knock the
need a
fire
whole bunch of
down.
these motorcycles to go joyride around all day and get there fast.
Oh, joyride around, nasty.
Well, that's what you're going to be doing. You're not going to park
No,
your
they're
motorcycle and stay in the
going to
hall.
medicals.
You're going to be like, oh, I have to go patrol around. Might be closer. And then
They're
you're
going
gonna
to
be out there
medicals.
pretending you're in a biker gang.
That's
they
why
get-
we call
does-
it police cops.
Do they get-
Constable on patrol.
Do they get yellow leather vests to wear with patches on them?
With patches.
Yes, we've actually, while I was sending the article to Paul, I found a link to firefighter gear for motorcycles. So it's a rider jacket, rider pants with all the protection and everything, but it looks like turnout gear.
Yeah, I like it. It looks awesome.
It looks pretty cool.
And I knew
it's black, Dougie. It's black with the yellow reflective.
Yeah, I saw.
and I need new gear. So like new riding gear. So, I'm tempted. Yeah. And it's got a vapor barrier. I wonder if it's PFAS free. Oh. So, Dallas bought a robot. I mean, a remote controlled firefighting vehicle. I see the Navy's getting remote controlled boats, and the pirates are using remote controlled boats to attack ships in the Persian Gulf. So just interesting. It's the How and How RS3 and LA County. That's the kind LA County has as well. We saw it in a warehouse fire there a while ago. They used the robot. So it's coming. We're going to start seeing more and more, especially I think industrial. How long before one of the big petrochemical industries starts buying some of these firefighting robots for a remote controlled tracked vehicle, monitor, drag hose, push a little debris out of the way. I actually saw when it was the Rosenbauer one, I saw a video, and it's got it's got a manipulator so it can close valves and stuff like that on the front of it. For kind of cool. What do we think? Is it coming, guys? How long before the metropolitan areas around you have a firefighting tracked remote control
I think
monitor?
we're talking about this like for the individual fire department. I don't think it's something.
But a region
you would
maybe.
see for a region, sure, yeah. And as you said, like industrial fires, that'd be pretty cool, especially when there's collapse and stuff like that. We saw this this remote control at the Notre Dame fire, where they can go inside the ship of the church and just drove that thing in. Right. The advantage is you can put a big line on that thing.
Well, there's been that one, like a lot of departments have been having these recycling center fires where you don't really want to send guys in there, but the thing burns for 2 days and you've got monitors and aerials and all kinds of stuff. Would that be of use? You guys have been to some, I know, been to some big recycling fires. Would that be of use?
I think so. It's just the problem with that is you need somebody specially trained and
Well, same as a
in
drone.
our world, and Doug, in my world, somebody specially trained is a nuisance to the Chiefs because you're a specialty.
Right. 24/7, 365.
It will create overtime, Chief Prevost. So, yeah, right, because there's only one or two guys. Well, if one is sick, the other one on vacation, what are you going to do? Right?
Yeah.
It's all these, like, same with the drones. So we've been talking about drone
You could
programs,
get
but
the hazmat guys could do it. You could add some more
they,
training to the hazmat guys.
they could, but they would probably say we already have enough training. And
Uh,
like New York has the what they call Doug.
they
What's the
used
department?
one for that parkade crash. They sent a tracked
Yeah,
vehicle in there.
yeah. What's it? Robotics? They got the robotics
Robotics.
guys. So, but I mean, they are super progressive. They invested the money in it, and they would probably give one of those remote control deck guns, not
Yeah.
saying robots, to the robotics department, right? Because these are the guys that fly the drones and operate the search dog and all this stuff. So that's fine for them, but for the average department, especially smaller, I just can't see it happening. Oh,
New
or volunteers that, as you said, regionally, like somebody
New
buys
York.
this thing, right?
Maybe Toronto will get one because they're progressive. They bought a 200-foot aerial, a 200-foot aerial, and they bought a big foam truck. Maybe they'll get a robot.
Paul makes me laugh because he wants to go spend $10,000 million on big tall aerials for one-time use, uh, robots for one-time use. We all need a big heavy-duty tow truck that we're going to use one time. But
Right.
Motorcycles.
when it's the fire motorcycles, yeah, add that to the list. But when it's the
Motorcycle.
fire truck that you take every day to 15 calls, he wants the cheapest, low-end, commercial, four-door,
Lime
bare
green.
bones truck. Like he wants all these fancy toys that are good to say we have one, but then when it's the thing that like holds your department together, zero investment. I'm surprised he's
How
not a
does it
chief
hold you? It,
somewhere.
it gets you to the same call the same way as the other truck.
Sure.
Okay. The search video. Dirk, you shared, I think, a video was on TikTok from Pennsylvania somewhere about
Pennsylvania, yeah, yeah.
some guys doing a search, initial attack. Half of the house is burning. The guys are getting hose lines and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, two firefighters exit the building on
Bolting
fire.
out, yeah. Yeah, so Doug actually had the, I think it was the secret list. There was a write-up on what actually happened. And so it was an outside fire extending to the inside. They had reports of a person trapped, and the engine and truck company rolled up, and I guess they run them as engine and trucks. So I think two guys, I'm not sure, two guys went inside to do a search, and they got really close to the fire. The engine had no water going yet, at least in the video. Again, it's like, I don't even know, it's like a 20-second video, so it doesn't really show much. It just looks very disorganized, and we all know how we like to bash everybody for not knowing how to throw a ladder and stretch a hand line and all this stuff. But it was a close call. Like, these guys came out basically on fire, and then somebody grabbed the smoothbore full throttle and blasted the guy to hose him down. So
I think it was a booster reel. I watched the video. It looked to me like it might have been a booster reel line.
well, he pushed him around a little bit. So
Yeah, he
that was a good push. If that was a booster line, that's the very first inch and three-quarter of booster line I've ever seen.
Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. Anyway, yeah.
Anyhow,
He
it
did
was
throw
risky,
some-
right? Yeah.
Oh,
So now,
hard, but
yeah. So the discussion came up on social media, as always, not just about the training in general, but do we search with other hose line? Risk versus reward. And again, we weren't there.
my
There was
answer is
reports.
no.
There was reports of people trapped inside. If
Yeah.
you show up and you are on the truck and your job is search, then you make that hopefully educated decision. And I think
And
most people,
you're assuming there's a separation there. The fire's outside the
yeah,
wall. You're going inside the
yeah.
wall.
And
Yeah.
it also is like, do I have the training and the knowledge and all this stuff to decide where do I stop my search? If I have a hose line advancing, I can search from the scene of the fire backwards because I already got water on the fire. That's fine. But if I go inside, I don't want to stop my search closest to the fire because the survivability in that area is probably a little bit less. If I start on the other end, it's safer for me to enter and I can advance in there. With other hose line, I'm going to be super fast. The average house is like 2,500 square feet. I can cover that pretty quickly. And we don't know
Yeah.
about the smoke condition inside. So again, you can do VES. You can go from the unburned side towards the burned side. This is all discussion that we don't know out of the video, but obviously these guys came out of the door right next to
The fire.
the main fire. So
Yeah.
it was pretty risky. I'm not sure what Doug thinks about searching without a hose line. But
Well, I agree with what a lot of what you just said. I think there's a lot in the words of like searching without a hose line. I think it's okay and the proper technique for the one crew to search without a hose line, but the other crew should have a hose line whose job is not to search for people and their job is to go find the fire and put the fire out. I also think one of those crews should be on a ladder truck and one should come off an engine. That's another debate on Quinn. To just say, oh, search without a hose line and have people take that as like one crew's going to just go in by themselves, search, no one's doing hose work. That's not right. But I think in the video I saw in the write-up was like, this is the perfect example of the house was not fully involved. There was big fire outside on a porch or something. The engine and the truck and the chief were all there. So you have your fire attack, you have your search, and you have your command. And they got reports of a family trapped, and they had a victim who was injured outside. So, like, you're getting, like, that's all, that should all be saying, okay, let's go in and find these people, which is what they did. And they got to the point of, like, we can't be in here anymore. And they turned around and ran back out. I don't know if there was a delay in the hose going in.
It looked like there was a delay on the water.
Hung up on Paul's favorite hit it harder from the yard stuff. I don't know what the problem was, but the perfect world is like you're both going in together. One of you's got a hose line to go find the fire and put it out, and the other one of you is going in to search. And the next group is not your 2 in, 2 out people. They're your backup line people to protect both people that are in there. That's another thing we could talk about. I'm starting to see rumblings about how 2 in, 2 out isn't awesome. So
there's a new OSHA's coming out with a new rule.
Fire community. Maybe we should look into that and talk about it. But yeah.
OSHA, I think there might have been a delay with water because you saw some guys just before the guys bailed. The nozzleman's looking back at the truck, and someone goes running over towards the truck. So there might have been a kink in the hose or something that was a problem. And on the 2 in, 2 out thing, what's going on is OSHA is thinking about revising their recommendations for fire services. And, then that's opening a whole Pandora's box of stuff. And 2 in, 2 out's part of it as well, because they're saying 2 in, 2 out really isn't saving anybody. You need that backup line equipped, ready to go. Like you say, the RIT team or RIT team, or just another backup crew with a hose line ready to save you when you're in trouble. Not just the chief and the captain and the pump operator outside. They're not going to do the job.
I kind of think like searching with the hose line. If there's 2 of you there, like one of you's fire attack with the hose line, and one of you is searching, and you want a hose line too, I think that hose line is going to hamper your ability to do a quick search, and you're going to have to drag it around corners and up and down stairs and around debris, whatever, and it hampers you from just going to get a trapped person. So in this case, if this company or chief or gets you have the truck with the hose in the water, you have the truck with the search team there, and you're being told there's people in there and it's not fully involved, like the fires we've talked about that Paul goes, what are you doing in there? Like the fire was not at the front door or the windows, it was outside. So if that's not the time to go in and find somebody, I don't know what is.
Yeah, there was that one in the States there we did a couple months ago where the captain passed away, the firefighter was injured. They were on the 3rd floor rescuing a known victim, although the victim had been rescued
they
from
took the hose line in. They were the only crew, right? They took the line in, but they left and went farther.
Floor, and went further up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, No, good, all good arguments, good discussion. We should participation, and yeah, if you have the, like you say, you've got a fire line in place, or attacking with you, and you're searching, tactically using the search without a hose line concept, the thinking of VEIS and all that kind of stuff. If you can isolate the area, I mean that's why we're there, right? Victims trapped, people injured on the yard. You got the gear on, you're going to give it a try, right? And they got out, so the gear protected them. They didn't get caught in a flashover. They got out. They were smoking, and their gear's garbage. It said no injuries in the clip, so that's good.
Yeah, which is amazing when you look at the gear. But yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I could go on
Any
and
other-
on about stuff like this, but we're running out of time, as you say, so I'll just keep it
Yeah.
there.
for next time.
Well, it's all
Next
stuff
time.
it's all stuff I've said before, but it's a subject that I'm passionate about, so I could go on and on.
Yeah.
Which is
You're
good.
right. We could look at the two into out article that was written up.
Yeah.
there. That was really good, and coming from smaller departments, because that, I think, it's not a problem for the big cities. This is really just for volunteers and for smaller suburban departments, right?
Yeah. Let's find that article, and we can
Yep.
do a discussion. We'll get Denis involved too. Haha.
Oh, yeah, you would
Excellent.
love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us, and thanks to our listeners. Hope you find these episodes interesting and the discussion motivating. And give us a like or a thumbs up on whatever app you listen to, and we will keep doing the podcast. Let everyone be safe out there.
Take care.
See ya
At the big one.
at the big one without a hose.